Hey guys, Robbie here from CrossFit South Bend. Today we are going to talk about the following question. Should everyone eat the same things? Should everyone have the same diet or the same nutrition protocol? So this is actually going to be a two-part video. In this video, I'm actually going to argue that people should be eating roughly the same thing from a health perspective, and you'll see what I mean by that. It ends up being very broad. And in the second video, I'm going to argue that people actually should eat very differently. So you might be wondering, am I just really contradicting myself? Well, you'll see, hopefully, that I'm not contradicting myself, but rather what I'm trying to argue for is that from a broad and general perspective, there is an objective fact of the matter about what human beings should eat and what nourishes us. But that being said, from that basic objective foundation, there's a tremendous amount of variation in which human beings can both survive and thrive. And that's what we'll talk about more in the second video. So in this video, let's talk about whether human beings should basically eat the same thing. And again, we're talking from a health perspective, not a religious perspective or an ecological perspective or a financial perspective. Those are all interesting and different perspectives, but we're talking about from a health perspective. So sometimes you hear the claim made, well, you know, these people in this culture, they eat that, and those people in that culture, they eat something entirely different, and therefore there is no one universal human diet. Well, to a certain extent, that's certainly true, and that's one of the ideas of variability that I'll talk about in the second video. But truth be told, if you look at pretty much all traditional cultures, all of the blue zones on Earth, these super longevity sites where people are living 100 plus years, if you look historically at hunter-gatherers, there is an objective fact of the matter about, generally speaking, what they're eating. And generally speaking, what they're eating is the thing we've been advocating for in all of our videos, namely real, whole food. Food that you could grow or hunt, food that you can cook, food that does not come in a bag, a box, a package, or a bar or something like that. These traditional cultures were not eating highly processed seed oils. They were not eating Cheetos. They were not eating pizza. They were not eating cookies. Generally speaking, every single one of them has some kind of animal protein in there in some quantity. They have tons and tons and tons of vegetables. They have lots of fiber. They have traditional and healthy fats. Now, you can run this all the way to different extremes, right? The Inuit have this, super high protein, high fat diet from sort of seal and whale blubber, and then on the other side you have the Catawbans, who have a super high carbohydrate diet of, different starchy tubers and things like that. But at the end of the day, what they're all eating is real whole food. And the macronutrients might differ and the micronutrients might differ, but those things are the same. So from kind of a historical perspective, there is an objective fact of the matter that we're all eating real whole food. Don't even worry about the historical perspective for a second. Let's worry about micronutrients. There is an objective fact of the matter about what micronutrients humans need. We need certain micronutrients like vitamins A, D, E, K, C, all the B vitamins. We need certain minerals like potassium, magnesium, zinc, and iron. And there are certain things that we can't synthesize that other animals can. So vitamin C, for example, we can't synthesize that on our own, so we need to get it from the diet. We need certain omega-3 fats. And again, when you look at that entire list, all the vitamins, all the minerals, the phytochemicals, the omega-3s, and you look at the top foods that have those things, guess what? It's all real whole food. It's meats, veggies, healthy fats, fruits, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices. You're not going to see Pepsi at the top of that list. You're not going to see a candy bar at the top of that list. You're not going to see any of those types of things. You're not going to see canola oil at the top of the vitamin A list or the manganese list or even anywhere on the list. So when it comes to micronutrients as well, there is an objective fact of the matter about the fact that we, generally speaking, need real whole food for the purpose of health. And then if you look at it from a macronutrient perspective, not micronutrients are those vitamins and minerals and omega-3 fatty acids. If you look at it from a macronutrient perspective in terms of proteins and carbohydrates and fats, there's a certain objective fact of the matter about our human biochemistry that necessitates eating a number of different things. Now, of course, there have been multiple different, cultures that have survived on different balances of these things, but we all need some of these three different things. We are not obligate carnivores, say like a wolf or something like that, where they can utilize all that dietary protein for different needs in their body. And we're not pure herbivores either, like a cow, where they have two stomachs and can convert plant matter into all the necessary things they need. We need some protein. And typically we need some of that protein, although not all of it, to come from animal sources to rebuild muscle tissue, for hormone production, for neurotransmitter production, for all sorts of different things. We need some carbohydrate. The brain's preferred fuel is glucose, and we need some of that for our body to function. We need some of that for high intensity activities. We can't store very much of it, but we need some of it for high intensity activities. And then we 100% need healthy fats in there as well. The number one energy source for the vast majority of what you do on a daily basis comes from your fat intake, actually. That's what your body should be using to fuel the vast majority of what you do. So we need some protein, some carbohydrates, and some healthy fats. We cannot survive on carbs alone. We cannot survive on protein alone. Fat is really the one we could come closest to, but even that gets a little bit hairy. So both to survive and thrive, there is an objective fact of the matter about the fact that we need this real whole food as a baseline to survive. So, when people say that, there have been different cultures that are eating different things and therefore there's no one true human diet, well, to a certain extent that's true, but it depends on what you mean. When we're talking about the broad outlines of what everyone should be eating for health, the answer is real whole food. Meats, fish, eggs, seafood, veggies, healthy fats, fruits, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, things of that nature. From a health perspective, we do objectively need those things. But within that, there can be a whole ton of variation. In the next video, I'll talk about that variation. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you next time.